Y'all ever hear the phrase, "Oh my god, 3D models killed Pokemon. Pokemon sucks now." I've already done a rant about Pokemon sucks now, and you can go watch it now if you want, but the amount of people that I've heard say 3D models kill Pokemon is insane. You spend 4 minutes on 4chan and you'll hear it so many times. The answer to this question is not as easy as just saying, no, 3D models didn't kill Pokemon, or yes, 3D models did kill Pokemon. But I promise you, you will get one of those answers by the end of this video. So I'm going to sit here and rant about it. You like the video if you agree, you dislike it if you disagree, but you sit there with your chips and you listen to this. So inherently, there's absolutely nothing wrong with Game Freak transitioning from 2D to 3D. In fact, that was one of the most ambitious things ever. When that X and Y trailer came out and you saw the 3 new starters, of course, but realized that every single Pokemon is now going to be in 3D. Pokemon has now entered 3D territory. And for this, they had their team develop 721 models and animations. It was a really big step for Game Freak, and it was really good. You know, especially after Gen 5 when they created animated sprites. This would logically be the next step. Now, cut the rubbish. I hate this. I hate everything about this. Alright. Let me just take it easy. Can we just start off with them poses? I've complimented you, Game Freak. Now I'm gonna shoot you 6 times. So I've mentioned this in a previous video once, and I'm going to make this as easy to understand as possible. What's the problem with 3D models versus what Pokemon was in 2D all these years? Why do people hate what is obviously an upgrade and obviously better? Let me take it on memory lane for Game Freak, alright? Did you know that in the first generation, between the different games, Charizard looked different in every single game? And even Charizard looked a different way in Pokemon Green in Japan. When you're playing one version and you see someone who has the other version, you're peeking over at their screen because, wow, the game looks different. There's some sort of life here. I mean, Charizard looks like this in my game. Charizard looks like that in that game. I wonder why this hits me so well. In Pokemon Gold and Silver, they look different again. Suicune looks different in one game. In another game, in Crystal looks different. Move on to Gen 4, the Pokemon look different in Heart Gold and Soul Silver versus Diamond, Pearl, and Platinum. And one of the biggest things this carries is the soul of the Pokemon, the fact that it's an actual Pokemon, unless that it's a digital thing that's made up. This is the difference between fine wine and just squeezed grapes. This is so important that even in Fire Red and Leaf Green, if you ever as a kid link cabled with Pokemon Ruby and Sapphire, your character in Fire Red and Leaf Green that you see through the link cable in your Ruby and Sapphire looks hideous because the Game Freak people created your sprite through the eyes of how it would look like an Emerald, and vice versa. Look at Brendan if you're playing Fire and Leaf Green. He looks weird. You can actually tell that's a hat. I always thought it was his hair. There's a spirit that's carried when things look different in different games because that thing has an actual soul. This is my biggest gripe with 3D right here, because when it came time to transition Pokemon into 3D, they took the 649 Pokemon and created models, but they lost one of the most important things along the way, and instead, it's like we got inflatable blow-up dolls. That's what I see when I look at all the models. They just look up like blow-up dolls. The difference between the 2D sprites that had some sort of soul that was reflecting something about the Pokemon and these 3D models, which half of them have the exact same animation. Look at Suicune, Raikou, and Entei. They're all just dogs. Look at Lycanroc, everything is just a dog, half of them. The difference is like looking at classic anime drawn hand style with a watercolor background with bruises all over their faces versus how animes look nowadays, all plasticky and looks like it's done through a computer. One has this rugged classic feel and the other, it just looks so stupid. Every game after X and Y, the Pokemon look the exact same. I'm actually tired of seeing the models. It's making me hate every single Pokemon. The only Pokemon I can sort of stand to look at now are the Gen 8 Pokemon, only because I haven't seen their models already. I haven't seen their exact same animations again and again. Game Freak introduced these models and then just stuck with them and never changed their poses or anything ever again. This is 3D and it's a big step up from 2D. And when you're transitioning something this big, not only do you have to do the bare minimum, but you have to bring more to the table. This isn't just 2D Pokemon in 3D, it's now officially 3D Pokemon, which means Yveltal can't just be doing the exact same animation cycle. He needs to have 3D life breathed into him. He needs to have varying animations when you send him out. He has to have idle animations. He can't just be flapping his wings all day and then look the exact same in Auraz, Sun and Moon, Ultra Sun and Moon, Sword and Shield, and probably in Diamond and Pearl Remix. Not only when you transition from 2D to 3D did you not bring more to the table, but you did less than what was there in 2D. You didn't even have varying poses in all the different games. What Machamp looks like in Pokemon X and Y should not be what Machamp looks like in Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire. He should have a different animation in each game. I'm telling you, all the 3D models are inflated balloons that just represent the Pokemon, are just the face of what we originally knew as the Pokemon. That's not Machamp. So yes, 3D models did kill Pokemon, but it's not inherently wrong. Riding a skateboard isn't wrong, but Game Freak rode it and just died. So yes, that was wrong. Does anyone remember the hype emanating? Now it's gonna sound kind of cliche, but just bear with me. Does anyone remember the hype emanating through your soul in X and Y's hype season? We were fine with 3D. We know how exciting that was supposed to be. When we saw that first trailer with the 3 starters, we were hyped for 3D Pokemon. The people on 4chan complaining about how 3D Pokemon killed Pokemon, we're the ones excited for it. X and Y's hype season was crazy. In that point in time, I didn't have a problem with 3D models. Forget the saturation or any other issues. They looked fine. Dude, I remember Mew, Arceus, the size differences, being excited for Pokebank to come out to see how all the new Pokemon look in 3D. I mean, literal, genuine excitement. I pulled an all-nighter and we were trying to collect all the Pokemon before the sun could come up just to see how they all looked in 3D. I remember it vividly. It is a cherished memory, me being so excited to see all the Pokemon's 3D models. But no, I swear to God, if I see this damn Mewtwo again, this damn Yveltal again, this freaking Snorlax, if I see these annoying ass, same ass models again and again and again and again, how's Sun and Moon supposed to feel like a new game if the 90% of the game you spend in the battle screen feel like the same game? 3D models didn't kill Pokemon, Game Freak. Your lazy ass did it, infecting these poor 3D models I was originally hyped for. For the love of God, change their poses. The next game better have T-Tar leaning down on all fours. Have Conkeldurr balancing that block on a finger and looking at you, smug. They don't represent the Pokemon we know anymore. They feel like a soulless spin-off sequel to an anime that ended already. Have Typhlosion on all fours and his flames back. Have the legendary beast. Dude, the legendary beasts have the exact same pose. This just goes back to what I mean about this isn't 2D Pokemon in 3D. This is now 3D Pokemon. Once you enter 3D, you're in the territory of voice acting and rich graphics. You can't just play around once you enter this territory. I'm gonna expect voice acting or rich graphics from you. I just want a fun game to play that has soul in it. How about idle animations? How about when Donphan is waiting for you to pick a move, he rolls up, goes in a circle, and lands and waits while he's waiting for you to pick a move? How about after 10 seconds of waiting, T-Tar leans down, picks up a rock, tosses it, and continues to wait? How about you fix Lugia's and what the crap is that? Like, Game Freak, look at me in the eyes and tell me, what is that crap? That's Lugia? Bro, that's Lugia. You're telling me that's Lugia, and you're gonna prove that again for Oraz, again for Sun and Moon, again for Ultra Sun and Moon, again for Sword and Shield? That's Lugia. He still look like that. That's the same Lugia that's this. Dude, you're making 2 versions. Why do I even have to go and talk about the next version? Why are their poses not different in each version? Oh, I don't know, like they used to? Dude, they used to look different in different games. This isn't even asking for an upgrade. You would sell the same game so that some people buy both versions, but make the changes so minimal, the changes don't even exist anymore. Can you not just feel the life if Yveltal looked different in Pokemon Y versus Pokemon X, and all the Pokemon were like that? You know that takes so much less effort than what you think. You know what happens with these minimal differences? You know what happens when Pokemon looks different in each version, looks different in the next games, has different animations? It feels like a real Pokemon. You know what happens when the Pokemon looks identical with copy and paste animations across half the decks? It means I changed my name from Tyranitar Tube, so I'm not associated with this fat ass's model anymore. Bro, he's so ugly now. It means I become an assassin and toss Pokemon Sword and Shield copies at everyone so that when it lands, it curses them with bad luck forever. Dude, I replaced my hand sanitizer with copies of Pokemon Sword and Shield and it kills COVID better. God, I can't wait 20 years from now to see Eldegoss with the same animations in Pokemon Dusk and Dawn. Or better yet, T-Tar's back with this fat model again. I'm honestly done. If I rile up anymore, I'm gonna start training and call Mossad out to box. If I win, you fix your damn game. Do your game right, man. I'm not even asking for much.
This the sound of my alchemy, the greatest success for all those who fell for me. I always respect the friends who wish well for me and live until the end and die. All time will tell for me, but I ain't going anywhere, believe me.